history. Now let's move on. Let's continue talking about some of the depth charts. We earlier talked about Dejounte and Trae Young. So now let's do it
There we
alphabetically.
go.
Start with Atlanta. You know, I would project Trae Young, Dejounte starts, DeAndre Hunter, Collins, and Clint Capela. No changes there. I don't see. Um,
Yeah.
the
No,
most, I
no
guess the
arguments.
most interesting thing here for me is the center battle, right? I mean, we
Yes.
know Trey and Dejounte will start. What they give out would probably still be good, right? Trey Young still projected first round, maybe Dejounte in the second round. Um,
Yes.
the other guys, really, there's really not much competition. DeAndre Hunter, I don't see anyone battling him out for that position or at least threatening him. John Collins as well. But Clint Capela and Onyeka Okongwu, last year alone, had some, Capela wasn't, I think, on the decline too.
Yes. On the decline. And so far, the ADP's mock drafts, I've seen him drop to 70, 80. So he's going really low. Last year, I remember he went top 50, 40s,
Yeah.
very early.
He's part
So,
of
and
that
Okongwu,
mid-round center, you know, the center bunch there with Jarrett Allen, with Nurkic, right? He was part of that group and one of the
yeah,
better ones in that group as well.
yes, he was one of the better ones, but he had some injury concerns, some foot problems here and there that was annoying. And of course, as you said, Okongwu was good when he was getting the minutes.
Yeah.
Even in limited minutes, he was good. Now, what I'm seeing right now this year is that Capela and Okongwu's draft range is not that far off anymore. But
Really?
I'm gonna
Well,
ask you, I'm gonna ask you, do you still think you should pick Capela first over Okongwu, right? Or do you, or do you think you should pick up Okongwu over Capela now?
no, I still think Capella gets, well, they're paying Capella more, so I think that's my logic. I guess they're paying him
Yeah,
more, so they're gonna pay him more. It's just that Capella can't get himself healthy, and that's been an issue, what, for years now, with Capella. Okongwu would be a good, maybe a good handcuff for Capella because he's a decent fantasy player as well. Um,
yeah.
yeah, so I think Okongwu is still worth a pick. Maybe after the hundreds, maybe the 120. Is that too far?
I I think he won't last that long. He's one of the rising hype guys. I won't put sleepers anymore because that's not even accurate anymore. There's no sleepers anymore. One of the hype big guys. Some people have been picking him inside the top 100 and then Capella around 70s. So that's where they're going. I think Capella is a steal at the 70s. I still think that's very good value. Okongwu though is also okay if you pick him like Jeremy said in the 100 after 100, 110, 108, 115, around that range. But if you pick him at the 90s, yeah, he could reach that, but there's no value there. I think if Capella is still in Atlanta, though
For the 90s, that's a lot of uncertainties already. I mean, he would
though
probably still back up Capella.
though John Collins is always in the trade block. So if in case Collins leaves, might Okongwu might be able to start as power forward. They've tried it before in limited occasions. That could happen. So there are lots of possibilities with Okongwu. There's lots of chances for Okongwu to get minutes this year. So I think he will reach the 110. I can compare his situation this year to like a Mo Bamba last year. People are expecting bigger things from him this year. So around the 110 where Bamba went last year, I think that's a perfect spot for Okongwu.
Yeah, I agree. I think outside 100 would be nice. The difference between this situation and the Mo Bamba situation is that somehow the Mo Bamba situation, we kind of expected him to at least have a bigger role. The challenge here is that pretty much this Atlanta team did not really, make any major changes, especially in that center position. That's the biggest challenge. So if you pick him within the 100, um, with this lineup, I don't see it changing drastically, right? Mo Bamba, we kind of there were Isaac was out. There wasn't really any other player there in the power forward position. Even if you back up Wendell Carter, the depth isn't as good. So he really had the role, and we already saw it, some glimpses of it towards the end of the season a couple of years ago. Here, we're still waiting for that Okongwu moment. He's had some good glimpse here and there. So I think outside 100, inside 100, a little more. The ceiling might be too close. You're getting too close to the ceiling. John Collins, you mentioned, has also been a favorite, especially if you're on a no punt build because he's pretty much a good all around type of player. You mentioned he might be traded. Where do you see him here going?
He is dropped also. He was almost a second round pick last year, right? He was being
Yeah,
picked the 20s very early. Now he's around I think fifth round. This round is lasting until the fifth round because the hype is gone after last season. I think he should be going there. Sixth, fifth, sixth, just ahead of Capela maybe, or just beside Capela. That's where I think he will land. His hype has really died down.
yeah.
So no, not much people talking about him
It also
this year.
didn't help. It also didn't help that he didn't play well last year.
Yes,
He
yes.
played below the expectation. Any player here you stay away from? Bogdan,
Um,
maybe.
yeah, I agree. Bogdan only because of the injury. I'm not sure if he's gonna be ready for the season. We did put out an article about that today, or is it today? Yeah, I think it's today. The injury, he might be out for a couple of weeks, maybe. I'm not sure. And he's a notoriously slow starter, so we have to be aware of that. Plus, the entry of Dejounte gives them a secondary ball handler. That was his role before.
Yeah.
So he might become more of a spot up shooter here in this situation. So Bogdan is someone that is could be a bust in the Atlanta lineup.
Yeah. Surprise. Any surprise player that we should watch out for?
I think it's basically Okongwu here. I think it's not a surprise. A breakout is Okongwu. If it's really a surprise, I'm going out on a limb here. I think John Collins might surprise people again. He's up to a point where he's now in the 60s, in the late 50s, and the 60s. That there's value there now,
Yeah.
especially if I don't know, he gets traded to a good situation, or maybe he just wants to prove himself again. There's
Actually,
some
the
value there in
60s is
Collins.
nice. Actually, I like that. I mean, if he falls to the 60s, that's solid. He's
Yes.
not the player who hurts you. So that's good. They've shown they also Dejounte and him also showed some nice chemistry during the some of
Pro amps.
the pro am
Yeah.
leagues. So
He is like what you call those guys, post hype guys. It's like after everybody's bought their discounted items, you go in and then
yeah,
you get it cheaper, and that's perfect
also
situation.
the thing with John Collins, he's slowly getting into that what do you call it, the boring type of players,
Yeah.
underrated, boring players. I mean, I know he didn't perform well last year because he was drafted too high. That's why people were expecting so much. I think that it's been 2 years now, right? I mean, 2 years ago it's the same thing. If he's in the 60s, I think he drops to that Tobias Harris level, to that Chris Middleton level we're in. We don't expect too much already from John Collins, but he is, like I said, he doesn't hurt you in any categories, even the turnovers, even the field goal. So he's solid. He gets good field goal. Now the only question is can he score a little more? Can he block a little more, a few more shots?
Yeah, I think
Those
that's
are
the
the
key
things.
with.
I mean, he's just probably one block away, or maybe 4 or 5 points away from his average, and he'd be a very good fantasy player in that
Yes,
level.
I agree. He's averaging 1.0 block, point 0.6 steals. So, if it becomes 1.5, 1.6 blocks, and then a steal a game, he's probably easily top 35, top 30 again.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference there. So that's always been a concern with Collins. The defensive stats hasn't been there. Hasn't been there. So
Hasn't been consistently good.
yeah,
He
yeah,
can he's shown he can do that, like the 2-3 blocks per game, right? But not consistent. Plus, he's always been overshadowed by Capela Okongwu with the center position. That's where I guess that's hurting him a bit. Because he has to share the rebounds, he has to share the defensive chores as well, defensive stats. But yeah, 60s is really good value. I like that. I like that value. All right, that's it for Atlanta. No one, no exciting players here other than Okongwu. Even Okongwu isn't even an exciting pick. I don't see it as an exciting pick. Uh, but yeah, we'll see. The question here is Trae Young and Dejounte, but we've talked a lot about Dejounte and Trae Young already since they were traded. So I guess there's not much to be said there.